Currently, Minecraft speedrunning is separated into 5 different categories. This is due to the way that each of them are played. However, this wasn't always the case. Originally, there were only 3 categories. The reason for this change is because of a new strategy found, which in short made it necessary. Back when there was 3, it was split into pre 1.9, 1.9 to 1.15, and 1.16 plus. This is where things get interesting. The speedrun combined RSG is pretty much what it says, the combined times of each random seed split. During this 3 category era, the common goal for many runners was to have a combined time of less than an hour. This was about 2 years ago, and a lot of new strategies have been developed since then. So, with my skills and abilities, I decided to set off and attempt to beat the 3 largest Minecraft speedrunning categories with a combined time of under an hour. Let's set the stage. I already have a pretty good time in 2 out of the 3 categories. In 1.16, I have a 13:51, and in 1.9 to 1.15, I have a 19:20. But just to make sure we're all on the same page, I'm going to give a very quick analysis of these runs. For 1.16, I used a shipwreck to get tools and enter the nether. While there, I went to a bastion for ender pearls and a fortress for blaze rods. After blind portaling at 7:18, I had a very unfortunate spawn and had to spend around 5 minutes traveling to the stronghold. After that was a standard end fight. In 1.15, I used a coastal village to steal a villager in a boat. While going through the ocean, I collected emeralds and gold from shipwrecks and monuments. With a quick stop to the nether for blaze rods added to the mix, I had everything needed to start trading. Trading my way up to ender pearls, I crafted eyes of ender and followed them to the stronghold to finish the run. Also, I have a whole video dedicated to this if you're interested, and while you're at it, you might as well subscribe. Adding these runs together, we get 33:11, which means I need a time of less than 26 minutes and 49 seconds in pre 1.9. That's not too bad, is what I thought before embarking on this journey. 1.7 is an old version. There's tons of bugs, the nether looks like this, and you can't even swim. You get ender pearls the old-fashioned way, by killing endermen. The main way runners accomplish this is by building a tower, which we will get into later. For my first run, I went in with pretty minimal knowledge. Here's how it went. The only thing I was resetting for was a desert. I knew I would need to kill endermen, and I knew they spawn more in the desert, so that was the plan. Using a temple, I was able to get a few quick resources. After getting additional iron from a ravine, I was ready to start gathering ender pearls and blaze rods. As the first night cycle came by, my plan was to run around and kill endermen one at a time. This was wildly unsuccessful, as by the time the sun came up, I had only collected 2 ender pearls. 30 minutes in, nighttime fell again, which meant it was back to collecting pearls. This time, going a little bit better with me now being at 8. I knew I'd have to wait for the day to pass by again, so I decided to head to the nether and get blaze rods. My spawn was actually great, as I was put right next to the fortress. I found a nearby blaze spawner, got my rods, and left by the 45-minute mark. I had to wait 5 more minutes for night, so in the meantime, I collected feathers. Finally, the sun set and I was able to get the last few ender pearls I needed. I threw an eye of ender and it pointed towards the ocean. I originally thought that this would be great, but I'd soon discover how horrible this actually was for me. I am really bad at triangulating. The combination of water and boats made this so much worse. I didn't know how to correctly get out of boats, so they would constantly break and I'd have to create new ones. I'd throw an eye and it would sink to the bottom of the ocean, meaning I'd have to slowly swim all the way down and all the way up. This process repeated over and over again until I finally had a good idea where the stronghold was. Fun fact, in earlier versions of Minecraft, the eye points toward the portal room, which eliminates the need to navigate your way to it. When I was digging down, I definitely did not end up in the portal room. No problem, I thought, but it was in fact a problem. So big of a problem that after searching for almost 20 minutes, I was still unable to find it. Now this brings me to the part that still confuses me. After giving up and going into creative, I threw more eyes and it kept pointing to where I was. After digging everywhere I could, I was still unable to find the portal room. So finally, after blowing the whole area up, I was able to find where the portal room was. But even after throwing more eyes, it flew in another direction, so honestly I'm still confused and would like an explanation. After that whole disaster, I went into the end to just get some experience with the dragon fight. It didn't go so well. They say every failure is a learning opportunity, and if I learned one thing, it was that I was going to have to fail a lot more to truly understand this version of Minecraft. With that fiasco out of the way, it was time to improve my skills, the 2 biggest ones being gathering ender pearls and killing the dragon. I knew that end fights would be the hardest part for me, so that's what I started with. If you've seen a standard end fight in later versions, this will be pretty foreign to you. There isn't an end fountain surrounded by pillars like normal. Rather, the amount of pillars is random. The dragon also doesn't perch, allowing for easy 1 cycles. Instead, the dragon charges at the player. This is when runners place a bed and use it to do a ton of damage. Because this is slower, the crystals that heal the dragon become a real threat. This is why players tend to use a bow and arrow to shoot the crystals. This part of the run ended up being a much larger problem than I anticipated. It took me 32 minutes to kill the dragon a single time in practice. Not only this, but that fight took me 4 minutes, which is pretty slow. But hey, at least I had gone somewhere. Next was towers. This one would be more straightforward. After following this guide by Teddy Ursa, I had a pretty good understanding of what to do. My towers weren't perfect, but that was something that would improve over time. For those who don't understand how towers work, I'm going to quickly explain them. Towers exploit how mobs spawn. Whenever the player dies, all of the existing mobs in a certain radius disappear. By building incredibly high up, each time a player spawns, there will be a fresh set of mobs. By abusing the way bed spawning works, you're able to respawn at the top of the tower after each death. Killing the Endermen is simple. All you have to do is look at them to aggro them, then make it so they run into a hole that's deep enough to kill them. Once you have enough Ender Pearls, you jump down the hole and land in water to continue your run. One additional thing I did to get better was read the 1.7 RSG guide, which is a 35-page long document that pretty much goes over everything you might need to know about this version. It taught me stuff like the optimal way to find a stronghold by using the pie chart and how to correctly manage your food as hunger depletes quicker in 1.7. With my newfound knowledge, I was ready to start attempting more runs, so that's what I did. One day later, I was actually able to get a run going. Due to me being slow, I wasn't able to build my tower and get Ender Pearls fast enough. This meant that I needed to wait a whole day cycle to collect more. Eventually though, I was able to dig down into the portal room and start fighting the dragon. Or at least attempt to, because I was only able to do 0 damage and instead died. But hey, at least I was kind of improving. Moving on, another run on the same day had a decent pace to get my tower started. Getting everything I needed from a temple and blaze rods from the nether, I was ready to start collecting pearls 10 minutes in. It was going pretty well until I messed up the tower, and instead of spawning me at the top, it spawned me at the bottom, which killed the run. Oops. 2 days later, I got into a run where I again wasn't able to get all my Ender Pearls in one night cycle. I thought about resetting, but considering I still didn't even have a personal best, I continued just to get a time on the board. Finally, after an excruciating 40 minutes, I got into the end and started fighting the dragon. To put it simply, the dragon won. Another day passed and I had still been doing more runs. On this day, I was able to get to the part of the run where I could build a tower. Unfortunately, I did it wrong again and was unable to grab onto the ladders because I counted wrong by 1 block while going up. Instead of mindlessly resetting more seeds, I thought it would be helpful if I reran this world. Doing that, I was able to make it into the end just before 21 minutes, which kinda showed me that I was able to accomplish my goal, except for one factor. You can probably guess at this point, but I was again unable to kill the dragon. At this point, a smart person would probably practice end fights to develop a better understanding of them. I did not do that. I went at it again and again and just kept resetting. On June 16th, I started a run where I got food from a village and materials from a desert temple. After getting wooden leaves from a nearby forest, I entered the nether at 5:40. Searching for around a minute, I made my way to a blaze spawner and got rods as normal. I exited the nether and made my way to a flat part of the desert to start my tower on the fastest pace yet. Due to some bad enderman spawns, I wasn't able to get enough pearls until about 10 minutes later. Getting eyes of ender, I threw one and started following the angle. As I was running, I kept track of my pie chart. Once I noticed the spike, I threw my eye and it did this. The eye went down on only my second throw. I got into the end and again fought the dragon on pace to beat my goal time of 26 minutes and 49 seconds. I didn't have a bow and arrow going into the fight. Although it's possible, it's hard to do. It requires a combination of quick dragon charges and amazing bed explosions. Unfortunately for me, I'm not that guy. I blew up a bed and it would heal up. This process would repeat over and over again until it was impossible to kill the dragon. Bummed out, I finally decided to give in and practice end fights more. 6 days later, I got a run that made it to the tower stage. After killing Enderman as normal, I started making my way towards the stronghold. In this run, my triangulation was horrible. It took me many eyes to find out where to go and it resulted in a few of my eyes breaking. Because of this, I did not have enough eyes to get into the end. Keep in mind that I still didn't have a PB, so instead of resetting, I built a portal and went to get another rod. When I exited the nether, instead of coming back to the stronghold, I was where I originally entered the nether. This happens when 2 portals are too close and they link up, so I had to run all the way back just so I could finish the run. This time, I entered with a bow and arrow. What followed was a slow 3-minute end fight, but finally, I had a run that completed and a PB of 33:34. Although the run was slow, it let me know that when I made it to the end, I would be able to kill the dragon. Hopefully. A few hours later, I started a run with a strong opening. Like normal, I went to a desert temple for iron and wool, then went to a nearby savanna for wood, food, and leaves. I started collecting my blaze rods on the fastest pace, but then... So yeah, I died in the nether, but my spawn was pretty close to the portal, so I went back in. This death costed me over a minute. Regardless, I was still able to make it in time to finish my tower by the 13-minute mark. After relatively average spawn rates, I collected pearls and started searching for the stronghold. 3 minutes later, I would dig down and enter the end with everything I needed for a successful dragon fight. My first bed was pretty bad. The second, decent. Third, horrible. Fourth, bad. Fifth, alright. 6 and 7 left it at low enough health to kill. Finally, the dragon charged and I was ready with the explosion, but then... I died. I died and left the dragon at a pixel of health. Because this bed didn't kill the dragon, I got hit by its charge and didn't have enough hearts to live. If the dragon had died, I would have officially accomplished my goal. But that's not how it turned out. I was upset, but actually in a good way. This run motivated me to keep up the grind. The fruits of my labor showed as I was able to get another personal best on June 24th. Funny story about this one, when I originally did my math to find out what I needed for sub-hour combined RSG, I did it wrong. Instead of 2649, I came up with 2749. So, when I finished this run, this happened. 2749! That's it! I got it! Moving on, I continued to play runs for a few hours. On June 25th at 2 AM, I entered a world that seemed to be the one. Spawning in, I immediately noticed a few things: a desert temple, a lava pool, and a place to get wood. Looting the temple, I was able to walk away with 8 iron and 3 diamonds. With this, I crafted a bucket, flint and steel, shears, an iron sword, and a diamond pickaxe. After collecting the wool from the temple for beds, I made my way towards the savannah. I got leaves for the tower and was able to kill chickens for feathers, which would be used to make arrows in the end fight. Using the flint and steel, I killed animals to get food. Once all that was done, I went back to the lava pool and entered the nether at 6 minutes. Immediately, I noticed a fortress and made my way there. About a minute later, I started to kill blazes. While waiting for them to spawn, I task overlapped collecting flint for arrows. By the time I got 6 rods, I had 5 flint, which would be enough for 20 arrows. Exiting the nether at 10:40, I started to build my tower. Fortunately for me, the lava pool was near good terrain. Here's something lucky: as I was mining down, a skeleton dropped in the hole. When I killed it, it dropped its bow, which is a 1 in 40 chance. Thanks to this, I wouldn't have to kill spiders later for string. Now I would have to kill endermen. This part can sometimes take a while if you don't get enough endermen to spawn. First, it started off kinda slow. After 9 death cycles, I only killed 14 endermen. When I dropped down the hole to check how many pearls I got, I had 7. My next goal was to kill 10 more endermen to get 5 pearls. This could take a while, however, it didn't. The next cycle had 4 endermen, and the one after that had 5. Incredibly good spawns. With a total of 23 endermen killed, I checked for pearls and I had 13, above average rates. After jumping down to collect everything and building back up, I checked the angle of the eye and followed it. I noticed that I only had 2 pork chops, so with the quick stop, I killed some pigs and checked the angle again. My first eye was pretty much 0 degrees. When I threw my second, I saw a 22-degree angle change. This told me I was getting close. After throwing another eye, it went down. I had everything I needed: plenty of food, beds, and arrows. Even if the portal had 0 eyes filled in, I would have been fine. I filled in the portal and began the end fight. The run isn't over until the dragon is killed, and with my track record, it was never guaranteed. I got in and noticed that there weren't many towers. The few that were there weren't very high either. I had a little mishap with the first tower, but after that, my accuracy skyrocketed as I hit the next 4 towers on my first shot. With 1 more tower down, it was time to start using beds. The first one did about an 1/8. The second left it with a little bit over half health. The third bed was bad. Instead of placing it down instantly, I should have walked backwards first for better damage. I learned from that mistake, and on my 4th bed, I did just that. Bed 5 was solid, which left it at low enough health for 1 more. On the best pace I've ever been on, I noticed that the dragon was coming straight at me. With combined sub-hour on the line, I did this. The dragon was dead, and I had done it. I didn't just break my goal of 26:49, I shattered it with a time of 23:54. That fight was also the fastest I've ever killed a dragon, including practice runs. Also, if you're wondering where my reaction is, there was a small problem with my microphone. I'll play and you'll see.
I did it, I did it, I did it, I did it, I did it. I caught the... Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god. No way.
When I add my 3 times together, I end up with a 57:05. Here's a funny little story. Technically, my 13:51 and 1.16 is unverified because I forgot to update my mods. Although I've gotten faster times, my only time on speedrun.com is a very old 16:09. But even with that slow time, I end up with 59:23 in combined RSG. So, that's where it stands. My next goal is to probably get a really fast 1.16 time or learn the remaining 2 versions. By the way, I have a Twitch where I might end up streaming runs, and a Twitter where I post random clips relating to upcoming videos, so check those out in the description. In the meantime, that's all from me. Thanks for watching and consider subscribing. Bye!